So I was in the corporate world since I was 19 years old, for about 23 years. I worked for IBM in its prime for about 15 years, climbing the ladder, kicking some goals, and then also over at Optus, and I was a global chief marketing officer. However, through those years, I just kept coming back to the fact that the system just was broken, just didn't feel right, had to be a better way. And so I walked away from it and decided to go and do the first MBA ever in circular economies and innovation, which I've now completed. Wonderful experience, and also in that time decided to become a social entrepreneur. So that's what brings me here today, talking about the topics that I wanted. Let's talk about business. And let me put a very controversial, slightly controversial statement out there. So integrating both social and environmental purposes into your business is no longer optional. It is imperative. But it will also give you a strategic advantage in the future. So let's look at the reasons why introducing social and environmental purposes into your business is going to be a competitive advantage for you in the future. So first one, something extremely important when you're running a business is you need resources. But resources now are becoming extremely scarce. So I'll give you an example. I was over in Africa a couple of years ago, went to Cape Town, very modern city. When we got there, we were told that we had to purchase water, because in 2 weeks they estimated that the dams were going to run dry, and therefore we would have no water to be able to use in any form. So we had to purchase water. Very, very important resource. So research says that 25% of the population is experiencing water scarcity. By the year 2050, that'll be 50% of the population will be experience water scarcity. Now that has a whole lot of different elements of worry and concern related to it. However, if you're in industries like mining, agriculture, food, clothing, list goes on and on and on, chemicals, etc., water is an extremely important part of what you need to be able to make those products. If we talk about sand, so sand, and it's a particular type of sand, but sand is used in cement and it's used in glass. The type of sand that is used for cement and glass will be gone by the year 2050. So we're not talking about the sand at the beach, we're talking about particular sand that you find in riverbeds, rivers, etc. We have mined that to extent by year 2050, that will be gone. So cement gone, glass gone, etc. So scarcity resource is real, and businesses are facing it and will continue to face that into the future. The second thing to consider is regulation. So we are seeing governments move on regulation in regards to environmental and social impact, and this is only going to increase. So we've seen tax on emissions coming in. For the UK, for example, they're going to ban any diesel or petrol cars by the year 2035. So products will be taken off the market, taxes will be implemented. So if you're not in a business that is thinking about these kinds of things and changing your business models to adapt, regulation will come and bite you eventually. Then let's talk about consumer demand. So we've all seen lots of research. They say anywhere, depending on what research you're looking at, 60 to 70% of consumers will pay more for a social or environmental product compared to ones that are from brands that do not focus in those areas. 81% of consumers believe that their brands in society should have some kind of environmental and social purpose related to their business. So we're seeing consumers pushing in this direction, which will also have an impact on companies into the future. Then we look at having a competitive differentiation. So what they have proven through research, that if companies have a purpose around social and environmental stances, that they have higher employee loyalty rates, they have higher retention rates, and they get higher productivity from those particular staff. We also know that consumers will follow their values, which will give you that competitive edge. Then we look at cost savings. So to put this in tangible examples, Dell, for example, who uses a lot of recycled plastics within their products, have saved over $50 million within 1 year by reusing recycled plastics. Then you look at someone like an Interface, that is a carpet flooring company, a global company. They saved 43% of their resource costs by using recycled materials. So there is a cost advantage to be able to move to this as well. Also, there is a social advantage to go along with this, which is all about businesses just being able to do the right thing. So we've talked about the different areas. Now let's just quickly touch on some examples, because this is all good and well, but are there proof points out there to show that these models work? Now, I know you're going to know a couple of these brands. One of them you won't know because it's mine, but let's go in. Patagonia. We all know Patagonia. Their whole philosophy is quality, not quantity. They give 1% of their revenue, their total revenue, not profit, their revenue, to environmental causes every year. In the year 2022, they just decided that they were going to give all of their profits to environmental causes. That was over $100 million. That business is worth, in 2020, they recorded a revenue of $1 trillion. So it works. And then we look at a company like Tom's. We're all familiar with Tom's. They started out by, if you bought a shoe, then another pair of shoes were given to disadvantaged children around the world. That company gives a third of their profits to go to grassroots causes in regards to mental health, microfinancing, and cleaner water. That company is now expanding. They've gone into other products that are sunglasses, bags, and apparel. So another company kicking goals. Then let's talk about one of our homegrown companies, Who Gives a Crap. So this was done by 3 founders, and their whole philosophy was about creating a product that everybody used every day and being able to actually show that you can do this in a successful way. So of course they used recycled paper. All their materials are 100% recycled, and they give 50% of their products to, of course, improving sanitation around the world. And their whole purpose was not about toilet paper, it was being able to demonstrate to the rest of the world that these models work. You can be successful. And then you have a company, which is my company, CandleXchange. Now the jury's still out in regards to whether we're going to succeed or not, but our company is the first in the world return and swap. So you buy a candle, take it home, use it. When you finish, you swap it for another one and you get 30% off. So we get those materials back, we clean them up, and then we put them straight out in production again. Candle containers are not recyclable, so they all end up in landfill. This way we keep them all out of landfill. We also take all of the containers that are cluttering people's houses, fill them up, and then we donate them onto other charities, whether that's DV survivors, refugees, etc. So far to date, we've donated over 2,500 candles to people who would like a candle. So in finishing, I think the proof is in the pudding. This is the way that we have to move. It is not optional anymore, but the good thing is we've got some very good examples of where it has worked. Thank you.